Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mighty Desperado, and welcome to the second episode of My Favorite Character. This one might cause a few fights in the comments. This is my favorite character from DC Comics, and it might surprise a few of you. It definitely won't surprise my friends who I already told this. But my favorite character in all of DC Comics, it's not Superman, it's not Wonder Woman, it's not the Flash, it's Red Hood. Well, let's get into it. Alright, so, Red Hood, for those of you that don't know, is actually a man by the name of Jason Todd. And if you recognize that name, that's because he was the second ever Robin. You know, Dick Grayson was the first and all that. So, let's go over Jason's story. So, Jason Todd was born in Gotham City and grew up very much a street rat kind of thing. His dad abandoned the family, I think, either before he was born or like really soon after, and his mom had a major drug problem. So, uh, Jason didn't really have an opportunity to go to school. So what ended up happening is he would go around Gotham's, you know, even for Gotham, the more run-down parts of the city, and steal parts off of cars and, like, steal everything that he could to try and make some money to help out his mom. Because she had a drug problem and her job was not that well paying, that kind of thing. So, move forward a few years, and Jason is about like, I think 5 or 6, and she ends up being involved in a drug deal gone wrong and dies. So now Jason's on his own in the mean streets of Gotham, and he continues doing what he was doing. He steals parts from cars, he steals whatever he can to try and make some money, try to find a place to live, that kind of thing. Until he's, I think, like either 8 or 9, and he sees this really nice car parked in an alleyway. This boy gets the car on cinder blocks and starts stealing the tires. Little did he know, this nice car parked in an alleyway is the frickin' Batmobile. And Batman catches this kid. But instead of turning him into the police where he'll probably be put into foster care or whatever, Batman decides to take him in. This is, I think maybe a year or like 6 months after Dick Grayson, the first Robin, leaves to become Nightwing. Batman takes Jason Todd in. Jason becomes the new Robin. But a major difference between Dick Grayson and Jason is Jason is less skilled with like acrobatics, but he is a good bit stronger. But he also has a bit of an anger problem. He's Robin for, I think like in the comics it was supposed to be like either 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, something like that. He was Robin for a good bit of the time. They bust the Joker, and turns out Jason's mom isn't dead, but she faked her death to spare Jason. And she is living out in the Middle East under the disguise of being like an American ambassador or like a aid personnel, something like that. He goes to Bruce and says, "Hey, my mom's in the Middle East. I found her. I haven't seen her in frickin' forever. I thought she was dead," that kind of thing. And Bruce doesn't really want to go to the Middle East because everything that the Joker's doing is still here in Gotham. Jason don't like that. So he ends up, bouncing and heading over to the Middle East anyway. He gets to the Middle East, finds his mom. "Hey, look, it's me," that kind of thing. And, they hug, whatever. And then one of Jason's mom's clients comes in, and she tells Jason to leave, or at least hide somewhere. Jason hides and finds out that it's the Joker. So, guess who shows up surprisingly quickly? Batman! Because, if the Joker's around, Batman ain't too far away. Robin and Batman, reconnect. Robin explains what's going on with his mom. Batman explains that the Joker is in the Middle East looking to buy a nuke. Yeah, the Joker with a frickin' atomic bomb. That's terrifying. Anyways, so, Batman and Robin end up tracking down the Joker to a warehouse. Batman says, "We've been at this for a while. We're gonna take a break. Let's go back to the hotel and sleep, and we'll come back tomorrow." Jason goes back to the hotel, can't sleep, heads back to the warehouse, and he finds his mom there, tied up. Jason unties his mom, turns to get out of the warehouse, and Jason's mom pulls a gun on him. And then Joker comes in, pretty much is like, "Oh, you guys are so predictable." That whole thing. And then I don't remember if he just talks to Jason's mom or if he hands her money or something. But then he pulls out a crowbar and starts beating Jason to hell with it. And Jason's mom kind of just turns her back to it and lights a cigarette. Hours later, we show back up at the warehouse, and Jason is busted up bad. I mean, he's been being beat on with a crowbar for hours, so he's not really too much in the best shape. Joker leaves after tying Jason's mom down again. Joker leaves, and if you've seen Batman Under the Red Hood, it is one of the most awesome and menacing lines the Joker has ever said. "Tell the big guy I said hello." And Joker leaves, and Jason sees that there's a bomb in the warehouse with a timer. So even after being beat on with a crowbar for hours, this man drags his broken body over to the door, and then he pulls on the handle, and it's locked. Joker locked him and his mom in there to blow up. Batman, who found out and kind of figured out that Jason was not in the hotel and had gone after the Joker, gets up to the warehouse, jumps off of the bat cycle, pretty much almost flattens it, and he's running to the warehouse, and the warehouse explodes. Batman is then looking through the rubble of everything, trying to find him, trying to find anything, and he finds Jason's mom. She's barely alive. I'm talking, she needs to get to a hospital within the next 3 seconds. Kind of bad. And then she points off in a direction. Batman goes there, starts digging through the rubble, and finds Jason dead. And his mom reveals that right before the bomb exploded, Jason jumped up between his mom and the bomb, even after being beat almost to the point of death, and realizing that it was hopeless. This kid, who at the time of this is like 12 or 13 years old, this kid jumps in front of a frickin' bomb to at least try to save his mom, who he had not known for a majority of his life at this point. Plus, she pretty much sold him to the Joker, and he still decided to save her. That goes to show, at least to me, that despite everything, Jason Todd, in his heart, is a hero. By the way, this pissed off Batman enough to where he nearly killed the Joker, and the only reason he didn't was because Superman was kind of like, hey, yo, chill. Like, you're scaring me, dude. That kind of thing. A few years go by, and Batman has a new Robin. This is Tim Drake, probably the second most famous Robin behind Dick Grayson. Tim goes missing, and Batman finds out that there's a new figure in the Gotham underworld that's trying to take over Black Mask's, crime family, his whole organization, and he calls himself the Red Hood. If you know your Batman lore, that was the original identity that the Joker used. If this is anything like that, we have a major problem. Because we can barely handle one Joker running around. We don't need another one. Batman goes through his investigation, finds the Red Hood, fights him once, then he gets away. But as he was running away, Nightwing, actually, who, if you'll remember, is the first Robin, Dick Grayson, tries to fire his grapple gun at the Red Hood's feet to kind of, catch him and have him swing down, that kind of thing. And the Red Hood cuts Nightwing's grapnel cable before it goes taut, before it actually, sinks in. Nightwing says, this guy's good. This guy's been trained. Then Batman goes through some more investigations. Turns out the Red Hood knows Batman is Bruce Wayne. That's bad. So, goes through a bit more investigations. Meanwhile, the Red Hood is slowly taking over Black Mask's organization and killing off whoever doesn't join up with him. Batman's pretty much figured it out. And he confronts the Red Hood. Surprise, surprise! Red Hood is Jason Todd. Batman wants to know how, because Jason definitely died. Jason doesn't say anything. They fight again. Jason loses, then tries to blow up himself, Batman, and the Joker. Batman stops the bomb, barely, because the Joker kind of tried to hold him down and say, I'm the only one who gets what he wants tonight, that kind of thing. Because we all know that the Joker really just wants either Batman to kill him or to finally be the one to kill Batman along with himself. That kind of thing. So, that whole situation passes over, and that is under the Red Hood. You might be asking, how did Jason Todd come back from the dead? Well, if you know your Batman lore, you know there's a really convenient thing that can bring characters back from the dead. Ra's al Ghul, who's the leader of the League of Assassins, who has also been alive for, I think, almost 1,000 years, rejuvenates himself whenever he gets too old by going into what's called the Lazarus Pit, which is a whole pretty much magical water that, like, it's pretty much like the Fountain of Youth, except you don't drink it, you swim in it, that kind of thing. He has a daughter named Talia al Ghul, who is in love with Batman. Not in the same way that, like, Catwoman Selena Kyle is, but, like, I wouldn't necessarily call it love, but she's infatuated with Batman, that kind of thing. Talia notices that Batman has two moods at the moment. This is right after Jason died. He has two moods, either near murderous rage or depression. And I'm talking more depression than usual Batman. So she does some digging, finds out that Robin, Jason Todd, died. To cheer up his daughter, Ra's al Ghul digs up Jason Todd's body and throws him into the Lazarus Pit. Unfortunate side effect of the Lazarus Pit is it has a serious psychological effect too. Kind of makes you lose the plot in some ways. Which is one reason why Jason is more than happy killing people now. But anyway, Jason ends up training with the League of Assassins for about a year, and then goes off on his own to become the Red Hood. Then he goes back to Gotham. You all know that story. Now, let's get on to after Under the Red Hood. After Darkseid used his Omega Beams to send Batman back through time, that's a whole nother thing. It's DC Comics, man. I don't know what to tell you. There's a storyline in the comics right after that called Battle for the Cowl, in which Tim Drake, the third Robin, who really doesn't think that Batman is dead, starts investigating and is just like, hey, Batman's not dead. He's just lost in time, that kind of thing. Nobody's really believing him. And then somebody wearing a much more menacing bat suit, if Always Tired could find it, he'll put it right here. Thanks for editing this, man. Starts going around Gotham and killing the criminals. Big problem, because now the word is, holy crap, Batman's actually killing people. This is very, very, very bad. So Tim, Robin, or I guess at this point he was technically Red Robin, but whatever, puts on one of the old bat suits and goes to try to fight this guy. He gets his butt whooped. Like, I'm talking major ass kicking right here. He almost died, if not for Dick Grayson, Nightwing, who was also the first Robin, finding out about Tim putting on the old batsuit and trying to fight the new Batman that's killing people. Dick Grayson puts on another batsuit and saves Tim Drake, fights the new killing Batman, takes off his mask. It's Jason Todd again. They end up fighting on a train. Jason Todd falls off and is presumed dead again. He's not. He comes back as the Red Hood again. Batman comes back. Jason comes back. Jason and Bruce kind of have a conversation, and Bruce is pretty much just like, okay, I'm going to let you back in the family, but you are not allowed in Gotham unless for emergencies. Unless I specifically call you, you are out of Gotham. Jason agrees to it, because, I mean, look at what happened the last time he fought Bruce. So Jason leaves and goes on to form the Outlaws with Arsenal, that's Red Arrow, Roy Harper, and Starfire. This is during a time in Starfire's character where it was like, it's not the Starfire that you guys are all familiar with. I'm not even going to mention half of the stuff because I will get kicked off of YouTube. Years go by. Jason is now in his mid to late 20s, and he goes back to Gotham because he found out that the Penguin is who killed his dad. And if you remember what happened in the warehouse, not much means more to Jason than family. He's kind of like Dom Toretto in that one. Family, whatever. He goes back to Gotham and is just tearing through Penguin's gang and everything. Oh, by the way, at this point in time in the comics, Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, if I remember right, was mayor of Gotham. Big problem, because there's cameras on him all the time, and Jason busts into the courtyard to City Hall, I think, like right in front of it, kills all of the Penguin's guards, then puts a gun to his head and kills the Penguin. Big problem, because that was televised. Like, it was on live TV, and he just shot the frickin' mayor. So, the next day, we find Jason sitting on top of a building, like having a snack or something, or he's just sitting there. And then he hears some footsteps behind him. He knows what's going on. So, he stands up and tries to talk, and then gets a Batman fist to the face. Batman has this whole yelling match at him more than with him. Because Jason's pretty calm, which is surprising. And Batman is the furious one. So Batman is just like, I told you to leave Gotham. I told you no killing in Gotham. That kind of thing. And then Jason's just like, whatever, whatever. They fight. I don't really remember where he's at in the comics now. I just know that he's formed a new form of the Outlaws with Bizarro and Artemis, who is Bizarro, Artemis. Thanks again, always tired for editing this. You're a trooper. That's the story so far that I can remember of Red Hood, aka Jason Todd. And the reason why he is my favorite character in DC is because he's flawed, but you know why he has these flaws. And also, he's one of those characters that has some of the, I guess, strongest will in all of DC Comics, even more than some of the Green Lanterns for some reason. Because, like, think about it. This man, when he was 12 or 13 years old, got beat near death with a crowbar by the Joker, was locked in a warehouse with a bomb that he couldn't disarm, and he still decided to try and save his mom, who, remember, technically abandoned him when he was like 5. He still decided to save her even after that, and turning on him again and pretty much selling him to the Joker. Then, years down the line, after he's been dead, resurrected, come back, he's a new man, that kind of thing, he finds out that the Penguin is the guy who killed his dad, who he didn't even know, by the way, and he still, after being exiled from Gotham by frickin' Batman, he goes back to Gotham, and on live television, shoots the frickin' mayor in the face because of what he did to his dad, who he didn't know. That is vengeance, anger, and willpower, all in the tight confines of one character who, the only reason he actually even died in the comics is because fans back then just completely hated him and voted for him to die. That is why Jason Todd, the Robin who died, the Red Hood, is my favorite character. Alright, that's about it. See ya.